Hello, you're watching AvenueX, and today let's talk about the most important characters in Journey to the West, upon which Black Myth Wukong the game is based on. I'm a Chinese drama reviewer on YouTube for over 7 years and a half. 4 years ago, when Game Science released their first video, I made a video. Over the years, that video did get quite a lot of views on my channel. Over the years, I didn't really pay that much attention until the game actually showed up. I decided to try it out as a non-gamer. I have only just gotten into chapter 2 personally because I have to do other things instead of just full-time gaming. This would be the first video in a series of videos I intend to make on stuff related to the background story, the cultural aspects, the literature aspects that may be completely foreign and unknown to international audiences who are not familiar with Journey to the West and the characters in it, or familiar with Chinese traditional culture, Buddhism, Taoism, mythology. And I'll briefly put up some text on the screen about my plans of what type of videos I want to make regarding Black Myth Wukong. Also, I would put all those videos eventually under one playlist on my channel so that you can come back later. So in this first video, I want to introduce you to the 5 main characters in the book Journey to the West, 西游记. We have to start with the absolute center of the narrative, the main character, 孙悟空. The book 西游记, Journey to the West, starts with him. Let me quickly run through the key stages of Sun Wukong. Supposedly, there is a country that's east to China. It's legend and mythology, so you don't have to take it seriously. If you really think about it, it may end up being actually America. Whether it's north or south is up to debate. But there's a east to China country over in an ocean where there is a mountain called Shan, flower fruit mountain. On the top of the mountain, there's a stone that's been sitting there and been nurtured by nature for eons until one day the stone gains sentient ability and gives birth to a stone monkey. He's particularly agile, clever, and brave. He did something all the other monkeys dare not do, which is jumping into a very wild waterfall. And all the other monkeys were like, if any monkey dare do that, we will call this monkey king. So he managed to do it and actually find a hidden palace, everything made of stone, behind the waterfall. So after that feat, he becomes the pretty monkey king of the flower fruit mountain. He lived there for hundreds of years being very happy, but eventually realizing this cannot be just what life is about. So he decided to travel over the ocean to, in the book setting, the Tang Dynasty China, trying to search for a teacher to teach him how to achieve immortality. One day he's in a mountain and encounters a wood logger who pointed his way to a temple where he finds his Shifu. This is a very important character in Journey to the West, and we're going to talk about him in later videos. Right now, we're just going to say this is a very important. Shifu, for a couple of years, taught him all the skills he needs. He learned everything he could learn. He said goodbye to his teacher. The teacher told him, if in the future you make any mess, don't mention to anybody, I am your teacher. And it's also an important thing in the original book. He goes back to his flower fruit mountain, realized that there's a big Yao that took over this mountain and enslaved his monkey friends and monkey sons and monkey grandsons. And with his superpower, beats that Yao and took what the Yao has, armors and weapons. And he thought, I need to train my monkey friends so that they could all defend themselves. Also, I don't have a good weapon. Let me go and grab one. So he jumped into the water, go to the Ocean King, which is a long Chinese dragon, and demand them give him a good weapon. Because he's so powerful, all those dragons have no choice but to offer him things. And he eventually picked a stick that can grow big and shrink at his will. He puts that in his ear, and that becomes his known weapon, also in the game, the staff, 如意金箍棒. He then goes to the underworld and checked the underworld king's record of all living beings and found he can only live 324 years. And he's like, no way, I should get immortality. He crosses his own name out of the book, also crosses out all the names of the monkeys he has on the book so that they all get immortality. And the kings of the hell and of the water world got really angry. They went up to the Jade Emperor in the Celestial Palace to complain. The Jade Emperor decided, well, this is a really talented monkey, so let's see if we can first get him into our system. The heavenly realm gave Monkey a choice, which is, do you want to come on board being one of us to serve the heavenly kingdom? We'll give you official title, a job to do. So they gave him the job as the horse protector of the heavenly realm. He thought first that's cool and then realized it's actually a very meager job among all the rankings of the officials in heaven, and he got really pissed. So he's like, no, I'm not doing that. He goes back to the flower fruit mountain. Obviously, the heavenly king is not happy, and then he sends troops and armies round and round, trying to force the monkey to submit to his rule, and the monkey is really strong, so they couldn't succeed. While that is happening, the monkey is like, giving me a horse protector title is so below me. I should title myself as the great sage or the great saint, equal to heaven. So that's the title, 齐天大圣. The heaven gave him the second round of trying to make him submit to their system, gave him a not really having any true power, but having a really good sounding title, and he is now in charge of the immortality peach orchard. Imagine what would happen when you put a monkey into a peach orchard. Obviously, it's gonna eat all the peaches. So when the banquet actually comes around for the deities and gods in heaven to have the immortality peach banquet, they found there's no peach left. Finally, the heavenly king got really angry and sent more powerful troops round and round, and in which there are some classic Chinese mythology characters such as 二郎神, 哪吒, and they eventually managed to grab him and throw him into a furnace, and supposedly it will destroy him. And the furnace belongs to 太上老君, who is the mythological god version of Lao Tzu, the creator or the founder of Taoism. After 49 days, guess what happened? He came out unscratched and even stronger. The only problem that happened during those 49 days was in the furnace, it's so hot and so much wind and air that it made his eyes sensitive. So from that point onwards, Sun Wukong has this one thing, which is his eyes cannot really deal with heat and wind and all this type of attack. And it will become some important things for later plot. And when he got out of the furnace, he got even stronger that nobody can really do anything about him. So without any choices, the gods in heaven went to ask for help from Buddha, and Buddha came. Buddha made a bet with the monkey. If you can jump out of my palm, then I'll let you do whatever. And the monkey is, oh, that's easy. I have this magical cloud called 筋斗云, which will allow him to do one somersault and travel 108,000 miles. So he did a couple of somersaults and reached the end of the world where there are 5 huge pillars standing there. He's like, I'm writing down my name on the pillar saying I've gotten to this point, and then pissed under the pillar, and then somersaulted his way back to the Buddha and say, hey, I got to the end of the world. And Buddha is like, do you mean this? The 5 pillars are actually the 5 fingers of the Buddha, and obviously there's monkey piss. Buddha then trapped the monkey under his palm, and the palm turned into a mountain. That's stage 1. And it only happens from the book 1 to 7 chapter. 500 years for him, during which time Guanyin Bodhisattva, that I need to look at my notes because I can never remember the Sanskrit name, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. In China, the Chinese name is Guan Shiyin or Guanyin. So from now on, I'm just going to say that because it's easier. The Bodhisattva told him 500 years from this point onwards, there's going to be a monk passing. He's on his way to the west to get Buddha's scripture. And you will then call him Shifu, and he will let you out of the mountain. Then you have to guard him all his way to the west to get the Buddhist scripture. And once you've complete that task, you're good. And that's like predestined. You just have to wait for 500 years. So the monkey waited for 500 years. Sure enough, the monk comes around. In Journey to the West, the book, it will be Tang Seng, the great monk from Tang. The Guanyin Bodhisattva gave the monk a band to put on the monkey's head and taught him a mantra. Every time he chants the mantra, the band will tighten and the monkey will get a bad headache. And that's the way a normal human, mere mortal monk can control such a strong magic stone monkey. From the book chapter 8 to 12, you will have a very brief introduction to the background of the monk and then what is Guanyin's plan of sending him to the west to get the Buddha's scripture. And then it would be him freeing the monkey, getting the pig, getting another monk, which is a river demon, getting the horse. So basically team up the 5 characters team. After that, from chapter 23 to chapter 100 would be all the obstacles they're gonna go through, which would be categorized in the book as the 991难, the 81 trials that they're going to go through together. So with this very brief introduction, at least you know now who the monkey is, where he comes from, what he has gone through, and then for the majority of Journey to the West, what he's doing. By the end, when they succeeded at getting the Buddha's teachings back into Chang'an, the Tang Dynasty capital, they have completed their task, and Sun Wukong, the monkey, becomes 斗战胜佛, fight the war and always winning Buddha. It's very suited for his character. In terms of his name, Sun Wukong, it actually comes from his teacher, although often he's also referred to as 行者, literally means walker or a pilgrim. Also, he often gets referred to as the ape or the heart ape. Now that goes to the metaphorical meaning of Journey to the West, because there's a mainstream interpretation of this 100-chapter book, which is all the disciples and students of Tang the Tang Monk, is actually a part of him. It's the journey of cultivation, a journey of getting to enlightenment and awakening. And the monkey is just one aspect of the Tang Monk that needs to be tamed. So in Journey to the West, Sun Wukong has many names, just monkey, stone monkey, the saint equal to heaven, the pretty monkey king, the Sun Wukong, the Sun Xingzhe, the pilgrim, and eventually you will get to 斗战胜佛, the final Buddha title. So you will see him getting referred to by all those names mixed together at different stages in this book, plus the heart ape. Yeah, it's complicated, I know. In terms of the most frequently used name, Sun Wukong, Sun is his surname, which is just given to him by his teacher, because monkey in Chinese can often be called Hu Sun. So this is a word that's made with two characters. If you take out the left side of each character, it will become Hu Sun, which are two normal Chinese surnames. His teacher said the Hu is too feminine due to it has a half that means moon, because he's a male monkey, I suppose. And Sun has a side that is character Zi, that literally means man. So that's why he ended up being Sun something. And Wukong is because the second character, Wu, is the character that this teacher's students get. So he gets one. But it's actually a verb that is the most important verb in many ways in Buddhism. It's hard to translate that because it's not understanding. Understanding is on the level of being rational and logic and thinking. The way of reaching enlightenment is not through words and thinking, but through Wu. You can say awaken to something. Maybe that's the best word you can translate into English. So Wu is a verb that means having this ability to be awakened to something, not through thinking. Kong is another essential concept in Buddhism. That is not emptiness, although that's what people usually translate that into. It's more like a state of potential that's not yet been transformed into form. So it's before form is formed, but everything that's already ready there to give birth to form. So Kong is the essential concept of Buddhism. Anyway, his name literally is awakening to the essential concept of Buddhism. So basically enlightenment, you can think of it that way. That's why Wukong's name in itself is so big and meaningful, and it makes perfect sense to not actually translate it by meaning into, for example, English, calling awakening to emptiness. That would be really weird as a name. And that's what Black Myth Wukong the game has done, which is also, when it's actually better not to translate, we just keep to the original pronunciation. Now you know the very brief history of Sun Wukong's character in the book, Journey to the West. I will add a couple more things to make it even more fun for you to know this character better. First, appearance-wise, since he's a monkey, he is actually not tall. He's written in the book as somebody who's only 4 尺. 尺 is a Chinese traditional measurement unit similar to feet. But during different dynasties, it's actually of different length. Fluctuates between 24 to like 33, somewhere between centimeters. So, Sun Wukong is technically probably only 1 meter to 1.2 meters tall. So that's a kid-size guy. He has hairy face that often gets called out in the book when people meet him for the first time, and not good looking because people think he looks weird. Also, he has a very distinctive mouth called 雷公嘴, which is the god of thunder's mouth in Chinese mythology. And god of thunder in Chinese mythology has a very beak-like mouth. Maybe looking like that. Sorry about my lipstick. The type of bulging and then top lip is covering the bottom lip type of mouth would be 雷公嘴. So think about a not tall, hairy-faced monkey having that kind of mouth. It wouldn't be very good looking. But then obviously people tend to make him look a lot better looking in animation and in live action, obviously, because he's so well loved. In terms of his iconic image, before he becomes a monk, he would be a monkey, and then he would be dressed up like a human. And then when he becomes the 齐天大圣, he had armor, he's stolen from here and there, and weapons. He will look very like a Chinese opera general guy with his armors and his pheasant feather on his head to make him look really grand. And then when he becomes a monk, he will be wearing mostly the monk's robe and the hat. And under that, there's this band that the Guanyin Bodhisattva gave Tang Monk to control him. His weapon would be the stick that he got from the King of Ocean that he can put most of the time in his ear and then take it out and make it really big. In terms of how heavy it weighs, in the book it says it weighs equal to today's 6,500 kilos. Imagine the force it's gonna generate when you swing that. Probably it's stronger in the jet plane engine. And another really cool thing about this character is he actually has a pretty good sense of fashion. He made himself a skirt and he wore it all the time. They came across a tiger demon, a tiger guai that he killed. And then he skinned the tiger and used the skin to make himself a short skirt. That's a 马面 skirt, which is actually a very typical Ming Dynasty skirt for women. So you can tell it's written in Ming Dynasty. And it actually looks like this in its full length. Obviously, he's not wearing a full-length version. In terms of Sun Wukong's superpower, he learned that from his "Don't tell other people I am your teacher." A couple of very well-known skills he has. For example, 72变, the 72 transformations, which allows him to transform into all types of things. For example, a woman, a bug, fly is usually the choice, but really he can transform into other bugs too. Birds, animals. And this skill allows him to, in the book, most of the time, infiltrate other people's caves or getting literally into his enemies' bellies and wreak havoc inside. He also is known to have the ability to do 身外身, body, outside body. That comes from grabbing his own furry hair, blow it in the air and creating copies of himself so that it can swamp the enemies or distract other people or literally create a copy of himself so that he himself for real can go to other places. What you can also see in the game of Black Myth Wukong. In the book, he often draws a circle and tells his 师傅, the monk, stay in the circle, nobody can hurt you. Because I have to go and do something, and to protect you, the circle is where you should stay in. And often what happens, the monk doesn't listen to him, and when he comes back, shit has happened. That also gets represented in the game with a circle he draws that burns fire and can help him recover faster. Other superpowers including 巨型散气, which you would also see in the game, where he becomes temporarily invisible. In the book, it's ability for him to change and almost transform into air and wind and then get out of situations. He also, I've already mentioned, has this cloud called 筋斗云, which allows him to travel really fast with somersaulting. He also has a magic that hardly ever gets used, but every time he uses it, it's a really big battle, 法天象地, which means he becomes as big as heaven and earth. And it's really hard to picture what that might be. Basically, his feet will go into hell and his head will go into heaven. He'll be full size, the entire world, and then fight an enemy who is also that size. And in 西游记, that happens between 二郎神杨戬. At the beginning opening animation of the game, you'll see them fight. These two characters in the book had this big fight where they both become their ultimate giant form that don't even look like themselves anymore. And that's also a skill that most of other beings don't have. It's really high level magic and it doesn't get used very often because it's very tasking. So those are some of his major superpowers. You probably have gotten a clue about who is the main character in the game Black Myth Wukong. If you've played it, you know he's not Wukong. Wukong at the beginning animation is already kind of dead, quotation mark, and our Destined one looks very much like the monkey, and he goes on a journey to find the scattered essence of the previous Monkey King Sun Wukong in hope to resurrect him. Kind of spoiled it for you, but if you're watching this, you definitely have played the game already. If you look at how the game gets designed and when you die in the game, when you fight an enemy and didn't succeed, you turn into sparkles, and then you turn into a hair. A strand of hair is who you are actually. Maybe, I'm just saying, the main character of the game Black Myth Wukong that you are playing is actually a hair of the original Sun Wukong. Obviously, that's not 100% confirmed by game science, but I think it's pretty obvious when you're playing it. You can literally just see that. What else can you be? You look exactly like the previous monkey. You don't talk. And then when you die, you turn into hair. I have spent most of the time in this video already talking exclusively just about Sun Wukong, but we have 4 people to talk about, and we will be very brief because they are not essential to Black Myth Wukong the game. Only one of them show up, and the rest don't really have anything directly to do with our game, but I think it's actually useful for you to know the main 5 characters. So let's quickly first jump to Tang Monk. This is based on a real historical figure who lived from 602 to 664, 玄奘法师, or often referred to as the Great Tang Monk or the Great Triplicata Monk. And he's a very epic historical figure who did this unimaginable great adventure for people back in 7th century on his own 2 feet, traveled from Chang'an to ancient India and back in 16 years' time. That travel was meant to get original Buddhism Sanskrit scriptures back to Chang'an and then translate that into Chinese. Without this person in history, Buddhism will be completely different in China. So this is an epic historical figure. Although in Journey to the West, this monk is written really as a tool so that the journey can happen, so that all the adventure stories can happen, so that he keeps making mistakes and get himself into trouble so that every time the monkey, the pig, and the other guy need to come and rescue him, and therefore you have drama. So in the book, he's a very easily startled coward having no ability to tell who is good and bad, always gets himself into trouble, does not even trust the monkey that well, always blame the monkey, and then always ended up being saved by the monkey. And the next chapter, he forgets that again, and he blames the monkey again, and the monkey has to go and save him again. It repeats and repeats and repeats. So if you read just the text version, it's not gonna be something that you're gonna appreciate. For example, like you're gonna like this character. Unlikely. If you've ever worked one day in a company, this guy will remind you of all those useless bosses you've come across in your life who cannot actually understand what is the professional job of the company, who is just sitting there and ordering you do like all the bureaucracy going on. You get directed by somebody who doesn't understand how to do things. If you've ever worked in that type of environment, you will immediately get yourself into the character of Sun Wukong, and then Tang Monk is your useless but annoying boss. And that's only because for the narrative of the adventure story, he needs to function in that way. Whereas in reality, the historical figure that this character is based on is badass. So you have to basically separate the literature version of the Tang Monk and the realistic historical version of the Tang Monk. Also, in many ways, like I said earlier, in literature interpretation, people tend to view the monk as the only person, because historically he is the only person who did it. And all the other monkey, pig, the river demon, the horses, they're kind of aspects of him. In Black Myth Wukong, he doesn't show up because everything happened after. About 500 years later, after the whole procure of the Buddhist scripture happened. Then let's talk about the pig, one of the most essential supporting roles in the original book, also in the game because he shows up. After chapter 3, he is going to be there. He is originally a general in the Celestial Palace, very handsome and very strong fighter. Once he got drunk and flirted with the goddess Chang'e, who is the goddess in the moon, the Jade Emperor kicked him off the heavenly realm, and he carelessly didn't get into a human body, the mother body, but got into a pig's body, so he got born as a pig. But he still has memories and superpowers as he was a general, but then he also gets tainted by the pig's nature, so he is lazy and gluttonous. At some point before the whole journey to the West happened, the Guanyin Bodhisattva came to him and told him this is what's going to happen. When you come across a traveling monk and a monkey, you are gonna join them and become the monk's 徒弟, disciple. And the pig does also wanna seek refuge in Buddhism, so becoming a Buddhist. So he agreed. Then Bodhisattva gave him the name Zhu Neng, which follows Sun Wukong. The middle character is Wu, awakening 2, and Neng means ability. Then he waited there until the group showed up and he joined them. So he becomes number 2 in terms of the monk's disciples. He is a black-haired pig, and he should be quite ugly looking. Although in the game version, they made him really petite and cute, like a raccoon in the Marvel movies, that type of style. But in book, he's a big ugly pig. He would have the pig snout and big ears, and that would be the very identifiable thing about him. So every 妖怪 they encounter on their way, if those 妖怪 have heard about this traveling monk and his 4 disciples, they would immediately recognize the pig because the pig is too recognizable. His weapon is the 9-tooth rake, which would also show up in the game. He is the stupid one who doesn't figure things out and get everybody into trouble, or he's the lazy one who's supposed to do something and forgot doing it. He is the hungry one who always goes around trying to seek food and get himself into trouble. He's very easily swayed and he has a lot of desires. On the other hand, the pig is also really loyal. He treats his 大师兄, the Monkey King, with the most amount of respect and actually in a couple of occasions saved him. The pig also is actually really strong. When he gets really angry, releases his full power, he's actually a really powerful pig. So don't ever think the rake is not a weapon. It is. It's pretty powerful. The pig had a name Zhu Wuneng from Bodhisattva. When he meets Tang Seng gave him another name, called him Zhu Bajie. Ba is 8. Jie is the Buddhist precepts, things you vow you will never do. Usually, normally, the most basic are 5, but then he also follows rules in Taoism, which is not eating 3 types of meat, I believe. Tang Monk is like, okay, so you are already Buddhist, and then you don't do these things, 5 plus 3, let's make it 8. So his Bajie, 8 precepts, 8 things he vows he never does. The third student from Tang Monk is Shan Monk, or sometimes called 沙和尚. 和尚 and Seng means the same thing. The origin of this character also is a heaven celestial general called 卷帘大将, the general of rolling up the curtains. It sounds weird in English, but it actually sounds a lot more normal in Chinese. What he did wrong was, during a immortality peach banquet, he accidentally broke a glass chalice. Must be a really precious one. Because of that, he got casted down into 流沙河, Liu Sha River, where he gets punished every 7 days. He will get hundreds of blades cutting through his ribs. So he's there suffering all the time. Got to the point where he needs to eat a live human being every couple of days to survive. So he ate a lot of people. And the river is really volatile. Nothing can float on the river. Even a goose feather will sink to the bottom. During his many years as the river monster living there, he came across a couple of really interesting monks who were on their way to get scripture from the West, and he ate them all. And he discovered those human skulls don't sink to the bottom of a river. They would actually stay afloat. They are the only thing that ever floats on this river. So he collected those skulls and made them into a necklace and wear on his neck. I know, it's 9 human skull necklace. Unbeknownst to him, these 9 people he's eaten over the years are all incarnation of Tang Seng. So this lifetime, Tang Seng is in his 10th incarnation. He's still doing getting to the West, getting the scripture, and finally he succeeded. This river monster, during his time as the river monster, also got visited by Guanyin Bodhisattva before this whole journey to the West thing happened. So everything is like preordained and arranged. And the Bodhisattva told him, you will encounter a group of people like this, and then you will become his student, and that will help you get out of this life eventually. You get to the West, for what you've done, you will no longer need to suffer like this. And he agreed. And he got the name Sha Wujing also from the Bodhisattva because he comes from this river called Liu Sha He. So he took the character Sha as his surname. When he really came across the monk, he became the 3rd student. And in this Journey to the West book, he usually serves as the laborer. He will always be the guy who's holding the pole and taking their luggages. So we have talked about the human characters, sort of like the 2-footed characters in the 5 main people's team. Finally, we come to the white horse, the character that doesn't speak. Pretty much like Black Myth Wukong's main character who does not speak. He is actually a dragon. He is the third son of the West Sea Long King underwater. He didn't know Tang Seng has this background and this destiny to achieve. When the traveling group of Tang Seng passed this ocean, he ate Tang Seng's ride, the white horse. And Guan Yin Bodhisattva showed up and made sure that monkey doesn't go and kill the dragon and said, "Dragon, you made a mistake. You ate something you shouldn't be eating. Now, to give you an opportunity to pay your debt and right the wrong you've done, transform you into a white horse. So now you are Tang Monk's horse. You have to let him ride you all the way to the west. Once you succeed at doing that, then you will have repaid your debt and actually sort of like level up." The dragon is like, okay, I'll do it. So the dragon becomes technically another student of Monk, although he doesn't assume any of the human-ish form. He would always stay as a white horse. Now you have the whole team ready. These 5 characters are always together from chapter 23 pretty much to the end of the book. And that would be the end of the first video AvenueX makes on Black Myth Wukong. Hope that's useful for you to figure out things when you're playing the game and getting a better grounding and direction about what the whole thing is about. If you want to see more videos that will go into more details about the game and the original book and everything probably I can think of and I'm guessing people will be interested in regarding the game, then please subscribe or at least keep this video in your folder, watch later, subscribe to the playlist so that you can find your way back for future videos. Thank you for watching AvenueX. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy game playing.